Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. If this is the first time that you're seeing me, I'm the Hermit Tarot and this is my YouTube channel. A massive welcome back to those who are returning. In today's video we are going to be doing a pick a group tarot reading. As you can see, as usual, we have 3 groups in front of us today. It's a different style of reading in that technically it's not completely timeless. I'm going to try to be general about when this could apply, but at the time that I'm filming this video, we are currently in a Venus retrograde. This Venus retrograde will last until, I think it's the 9th of September. Let me just double check real quick, just because I want to be sure. Oh, Venus, no, we're not looking at that. All my astrology is coming up, all my astrology questions, the 3rd of September. So it's supposed to be direct on the 3rd of September. This retrograde started on the 22nd of July, so it's going to continue until Venus goes direct on the 3rd of September this year, 2023. However, Venus does go retrograde every 18 months, and it will spend about 40 days going retrograde as well. So this is technically a timeless reading. You just need to apply it to whenever your next retrograde season is for Venus specifically. The reason why I wanted to do this reading, first of all, it was recommended by a beautiful follower on Instagram. I put a lot of posts up on my story every now and then, actually. I don't do it every day, but this post was asking for suggestions about mini pick a group reading ideas for my Instagram. And when this one was suggested, to be honest, they weren't the only person that did it. There were at least 5 people who said, please do Venus retrograde reading. And I thought, we haven't done that ever. And I do think that Venus retrograde can be quite helpful. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to delve deeper into self, into what makes us feel good, into what we value, and into how we boost our sense of self, as well as what we want to do with our valuable time, with our valuable resources, like our money as well. So it can be an interesting time of year to really look into. And I do hope that today's reading offers a lot of perspective for your own journey, as well as for your close relationships, and maybe about love that you want to attract into your life. So that is my intention behind doing this reading. I'm now going to introduce the 3 groups to you. Starting from over here, we have group 1. Now group 1, all the groups have the same 3 decks of cards used, but I did show one of the cards from the Celestial Bodies deck. So for group 1, you have this green jade heart over here. If she will focus. And you also have the Ascendant card from the Celestial Bodies deck. So if you feel drawn towards this card or this jade heart, then you'll be a part of group 1's reading. And then we have group 2 over here with the Sodalite heart and the Aries card. Again, this card is from the Celestial Bodies Oracle deck. If you feel drawn towards this Aries card or the Sodalite heart, then you'll be a part of group 2's reading. Last but not least, we do have the group 3s over here with this Rhodochrosite heart and the number 7 card. Group 3 actually got a second card, also the air card. So we can see Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini on that card as well. If you feel drawn towards these cards or this Rhodochrosite heart, then you'll be a part of group 3's reading. There will be an extended for each of the groups, but we'll talk more about that once we get into your readings. Pause the video now if you do need more time deciding which of these 3 groups you feel most drawn to. You may also wish to join me in the 1-minute meditation clip that will be playing right after this. That 1-minute clip is a guided meditation to help connect you to your intuition so that you can intuitively select a group that you feel most called to. But as always, when you know which of these 3 groups you're feeling most drawn towards, click on the timestamp in the description box and join me in your reading. So the first thing I want you to do with me is to take in 2 deep, mindful breaths. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. Now I want you to focus on clearing your mind. It's natural to have thoughts racing at this point. I want you to embrace each thought as it comes and let it slip as quickly as it came in. Focus on clearing and balancing out these thoughts so that they come and go without a desire to be attached to them. And now, with a rested mind, I want you to think of the first group that comes to your mind. It may be a number, it may be an object that I showed you. It could be a specific color. It could be a feeling that you felt when I showed you each of the groups today. When you are ready and when you feel confident, select your group and join me in your reading. Hi my group ones, and welcome to your reading. If you chose this Jade Green Heart or this Ascendant card, then this is going to be your reading. Welcome. Group 1, we're asking Spirit, what does Venus retrograde 2023 have in store for you? I'm going to put your Jade Heart up there. And I've got these oracle cards out for a reason. They have been pre-shuffled, so I'm going to lay them out and then we're going to clarify with some tarot. I do recommend that you get something to write with and something to write on, as well as a hydration source. Now, group 1, full disclosure, I'm coming into this reading very chill because I'm going to be doing a lot of channeling, so I do need to save my energy for this, and I'm not going to be turning it up, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not going to be trying to perform, for lack of a better word. I know that a lot of people notice that and they're like, what's going on? Like, are you sad? But it's literally just that this can take a lot out of me. So, and I feel that already with your reading. So I'm going to pace myself. I'm not going to put too much energy into my voice or trying to sound some type of way. I literally just need to put all my energy towards your reading. So just putting that out there. Without further ado, let's get into it. Group 1, please, Spirit, tune me into Group 1's energy. Help me to channel the most honest, clear messages for them as possible. Tuning into Group 1's energy. There's a beautiful sense of peace about this group. I think Jade does that naturally if you've acquired it. I don't know, there's a lot of superstition around Jade, isn't there? Especially in different cultures. So I do think that there's a lot of peace in this group. And I think with this ascendant energy, a huge theme for you, this Venus retrograde, will be focusing on yourself and maybe attracting new opportunities for self as well. I can definitely see you feeling more like you than you have felt in a while. You could be spending a lot of time making sure that you look good and feel good about who you are. And this could also look like you even reinventing yourself. Sometimes the ascendant can lead us into new pathways, new opportunities, but it's ultimately trying to help us feel more like who we are supposed to be, and it can also let us try new things that we wouldn't usually try. So I do think that your interests or your hobbies might lead you to finding new people as well, whether this is just platonic friendships or romantic connections. We also have the Forest coming out for you, so you seem to be very selective this Venus retrograde about who is around you. Some of you may have recently separated from somebody closer to you. This could be a loved one. This could be a romantic person. It feels like you're purposefully holding back from certain people in your life to focus more on other people, and especially yourself. We have Matter coming out in the reverse position. We also have Golden Hour. How much more can I fit over there? We will try. We will try. I think we got heaps of space actually. And then we also have Supernova. Cute. So let me get my little journal out and we'll write things down together. That's not what page I'm up to, is it? No. Okay. So I'm feeling a few things for you, my group ones. The first, oh, that's not it. Here. The first thing I feel is that a major theme for you is definitely self. And this does look like you isolating from certain people who were a big part of 2023 for January to June. I definitely see you wanting to be more specific about who's around you and just trying to be more intentional with your actions, with your efforts. There is this feeling of trying to separate from self. And it does remind me of this reel that I saw last night. It was this, I don't know how much to explain, but basically a beautiful content creator had come up with a list of questions and she was filming herself throughout the forest asking these questions, and you as the viewer got a chance to kind of like engage and feel a little bit seen and heard by her as well and answer the questions. One of the questions was, is your personality your own? And she said, because I know for a fact that mine came from a few different inspirations. And I feel like that is a question that you may be asking yourself. Is your personality your own? Because I do think that there's something, this Venus retrograde, that you're going to be more focused on developing. And it's an aspect of you that hasn't had the chance to shine through strongly yet in 2023. You may have already started this in July, but I do think that that Venus retrograde period from July 22nd to September 3rd is going to be very important for you. There is a restructuring of your material world with matter here reversed as well. So sometimes this makes me think of like a change in jobs, a change in priorities, a change in responsibilities. This Venus retrograde could make you want to rethink your finances and what you're spending money on. You might also be saving for something at the end of this year, so you may need to be a little bit more wary of your spending and of what you are allocating funds towards. Budgeting could be very important for you, but this matter card reversed is ultimately saying that Venus retrograde is restructuring your material world and what you put importance towards. And when I think of matter, I think of it as something that is very tied to this realm, right? Like it's what comprises of, like, it is the 3D. And there's aspects of us, especially if you are spiritual, that cannot be limited by that 3D world. So I do think that this is a balance of you being a bit more aware of what matters to you in your world and of what is important to you in this world, as well as trying to align that to your beliefs, whether you are spiritual, whether you're religious, or whether you're just a sovereign being trying to figure it out. I definitely think that there is this idea of following purpose and intention with action. And it may look very different as we finish this year. This Venus retrograde period is technically only about 40 days, but it will be taking us into the last quarter of this year. So I do think that maybe there's something about this Venus retrograde that shifts a lot of what your goals were from the start of the year. These goals will not be the same as we end. We'll get tarot to clarify what that is really about, but a big physical change seems to be a part of this Venus retrograde. Now, the golden hour card is interesting. This talks about a prime opportunity to make magic happen. So Venus retrograde could be making you feel a little bit more serendipitous in the moment, seizing those opportunities as they happen. They could also be highlighting to you things that you need to start taking more advantage of, opportunities that you need to start being more present towards. The golden hour is a magical hour that only happens for a brief period in time, and it changes every day. It changes with the seasons. Sometimes it could last for 10 minutes. Sometimes it could just last for like 2 minutes. So it's very important with golden hour that you are paying attention to the magic in life. And sometimes things don't appear as desirable or magical as they are until they're in the golden hour, until they have that beautiful golden glow of that setting sun. I also think with this supernova energy here, another major theme for you, my group ones, is being able to make things happen quite spectacularly. There could feel like miracles are unfolding in this Venus retrograde, like things are really falling into place for you. I do see a supernova as quite a catastrophic event, but I also think that this is a sheer test of the universe's power and our cosmos's ability to invent and create from such large events, such minute details. So I wonder with that supernova if there is an indication here of something coming to such a culmination where the road forward is much more clearer. Sorry for bumping that camera. I'm just going to check if there's any other messages in supernova that I'm missing. Yeah, evolution seems to be very important with supernova evolution. So let me put this back, and we are going to, we are going to get some tarot out now. For my group ones, please, Spirit. We'll clarify this Forest card first. What does Venus retrograde have in store for group ones with this Forest energy, Spirit? We have the Ace of Swords, the Page of Wands, and the Nine of Cups reverse. So this Forest energy is about being able to gain some sort of clarity, a perspective, an idea that can help you understand what it is that you want for yourself. This does look like you recognizing an energy vampire that could be around you, somebody who is really just there to suck up your good vibes, whether that's just your joy or whether it feels like you're just catering to their emotional needs more than your own. They might not be a happy person, but they're taking advantage of the fact that you give and you give and you give, and you're empathetic and you're open and you're intuitive. So I do think that Venus retrograde is making you more aware of your own feelings and how others either intentionally or unintentionally rob you of your ability to sort of share your feelings equally in certain situations. You're going to recognize when relationships are very one-sided in that respect. I can also see that this Forest energy is about getting clarity about a relationship in your life that does need more temperance, in that you should not be overextending yourself with this individual, and it is in your best interest to seek that level of connection elsewhere. You're going to ultimately be more open to exploring new and different connections. I do see you throwing yourself into new hobbies or interests, things that you excite you, which will ultimately lead you, excuse me, that's enough. That's enough. Oi, that's enough. Which will ultimately lead you to meeting new people as well and discovering new talents and skills within yourself. Oh my gosh, it's so annoying. Okay, so I can't even think when he's like that. I do think that overall this is about ideas, and you may not cultivate all of these ideas, but you're going to feel excited about pursuing some of these interests. And the main reason you're doing this is because you want to feel a sense of connection to self through what you're doing, and you want to feel like you matter and that you're important. So I do think that you're feeling your way out through new interests and new connections as well. And listen, if you're in a happy, loving relationship, these connections could be platonic. The goal here is just for companionship and to be seen and heard for who you are and for what it is that you have to offer, if that makes sense. Is there any other clarity that they have about this, Spirit? Is there anything I can be more specific about for my group ones when it comes to this Forest energy? I'm hearing not my tribe, not my people. So for some of you, this Forest energy is about making sure that you are surrounded by your tribe, your people who share similar interests to you, people who see things in a helpful way, in a way that aligns with your values, but also in a way that inspires you. And I do think that that involves you maybe separating from people who don't. I mean, look at this tower. Get out of my tower. I don't care if we have to burn the whole thing down to start fresh, to start new. Some of you are recovering from this tower moment, or this tower moment could be happening Venus retrograde to give you the chance to recover. I do think with this High Priestess card here, this Forest energy is also about you being able to see things for what they truly are. Some of you were either too distracted or you just weren't tuned in enough to recognize how imbalanced that situation was. You do need to be careful with distractions this Venus retrograde. Some people are very shiny, exciting, intriguing, stimulating, and they distract you from your intuitive knowing. So be careful, Venus retrograde, of falling into patterns that you've previously worked through Just because this package is more exciting and interesting doesn't mean it doesn't hold the same mistakes. Recognize the warning signs. It could be your ex in a new body, you know. Recognize the red flags and the warning signs. Pay attention to how they make you feel about yourself, is what Spirit is saying. Let's keep moving forward. We'll have a look at this ascendant energy now. What is this ascendant energy about for my group ones, this Venus retrograde? Okay. We have the Magician card reversed. We have the Eight of Pentacles reversed, and we have the Six of Pentacles reversed with the Eight of Wands. I'm just going to have a quick drink of water. Okay. Let me just wipe my eyeball too, because it's leaking again, you guys. All right. Very dramatic. What do we need to know about this ascendant energy? This ascendant energy is definitely about reconsidering things, starting something over, and really just giving yourself the opportunity to think before you go full steam ahead. It's interesting because I see the ascendant as self, right? First impressions, how the kind of preliminary stages of starting something. And I do wonder if this Venus retrograde, you guys may feel like this is what you've been forced to do, because tarot is almost showing that we don't want this actually. Like, we would prefer to do something more familiar or something that we've been investing energy towards. But ascendant is saying, no, you've got to do this. Like, now's the time. Now more than ever is the time to get onto it. It's almost like this Venus retrograde is forcing you to stop procrastinating on the things that you've delayed about self. Whether this has to do with your routine when it comes to self-love, self-care, or whether it has to do with maintenance on relationships, which you've delayed because things have just gotten busy and sort of time's slipped away. It almost feels like there's going to be a lot of focus on mostly making sure that you actually do the things that you said you were going to do. And it's coming from accountability, but it's also like, if you don't do this, like, who's going to do it? Venus retrograde is a wonderful time to really pull relationships apart and have a look at how your needs are or aren't being met. How are your values a part of that relationship? How is your time helpfully sort of being distributed amongst your responsibilities and priorities? More so priorities. Spirit saying priorities may be shifting here. It's interesting because I do feel like it's going to be very easy for you to get distracted, okay? Like, I'm seeing in tarot a lot of distractions, a lot of exciting things saying, hey, group one, like, don't do that. Don't worry about that manifestation. Don't worry about your job. Don't worry about your career. Don't worry about that loan. Don't worry about your budget. Don't even worry about following through with that text or that phone call. It's just going to come to you. And that's the thing. I do see a lot of serendipity around you too. I literally see things falling into your lap. But it feels like it's temptation because it's like it's not aligned with a plan that you've made for yourself. So it's going to feel like, dang, like I'm really hard to stay focused right now. Like, everything seems to be wanting me to abandon my manifestations. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Five of Pentacles. Okay, this is really annoying. I've never had trouble like that shuffling cards. Like, what? Not saying I'm the most perfect shuffler in the world, but like it was stuck. So there's two meanings. First of all, when it comes to your money, this is happening to show you that you do need to stay consistent. You can't just live a champagne budget on a shoestring, a champagne lifestyle on a shoestring budget. If you want these amazing experiences with money, you need to make sure that your income is secure. So this is a hard way to learn that. And it does feel like a lot of you may overspend, and you may call in sick, and you may not be as consistent with your cash flow, which is going to ultimately cause a huge readjustment in budgeting at the end of this retrograde season. But for my other people who are wanting to relay this to relationships, this is happening to show you ultimately that good things take time. And I do think that that can be relayed to your material goals, but this is also about your physical relationships and the people around you. Good things take time. You might attract people that you really click with, but you're going to realize very quickly that there's no longevity in that connection because you haven't taken the time to create a strong foundation and they haven't taken the time to really get to know you. You're very attracted to the outward initial stages, the outward appearance and the initial stages of getting to know someone. And then as something is developed further, it's quite obvious that the compatibility is waning due to the lack of investment in the connection in something serious. For some of you, there may be a lot of flings this retrograde season, or you may just meet a lot of people and you struggle to kind of forge a friendship because you're meeting them in settings that feel temporary and there's no effort there to kind of follow up or to make a more lasting impression. It feels like this is a very fleeting first impression sort of situation. So the overall experience is very much about good things take time, and essentially matter grows where our energy flows. And if you don't invest that strong sort of attention, it's just not going to grow. It's not going to forge a strong enough foundation to withstand the natural sort of growing pains of the situation. So that's what I'm seeing with the Ascendant. I hope that was helpful. Definitely make sure that you're writing down what resonates there because I feel like we channeled a lot of messages. Let's have a look at this Matter energy now. Spirit, what does Group 1 need to know about this Matter energy when it comes to their Venus retrograde 2023? What does Group 1 need to know about this Matter energy? Okay. We have the Eight of Wands, this time upright. We have the Three of Pentacles. It did want to flip, so this gives me Secret Admirer vibes. It's also giving secrecy in general, working on something in the dark, literally because the moon just came out. And then we also have this Page of Wands at the back of the deck reversed. The Page of Wands is probably your anthem. It's probably your most accurate, at this stage, tarot card to depict this energy. From my perspective, I don't think you would agree, but like from my perspective, there is a freshness, a vitality, a desire, a hunger, an inspiration that is pulling you through this Venus retrograde. And at times it feels like it's a little immature in that it gets distracted easily and it does sort of go towards whatever is the most sort of exciting thing to focus on in that moment. But it also is an energy of learning. So it's not an energy to feel like we need to punish ourselves or be too hard on ourselves. It's an energy of being human and experiencing and being open to new experiences. So with this Matter card, I do feel like Venus retrograde is really going to put a lot of things into perspective when it comes to your energy and how you're investing into your material world. I definitely feel like certain things are going to be put on the back burner. I can see a lot of procrastination for this group. I can also see an energy of out of sight, out of mind. Some of you are getting the luxury to physically travel, which is going to physically put things out of sight, out of mind. And you're going to discover that when you come back later in the year, or even like while you're gone, and maybe you're not coming back until 2024 actually, things are going to be very different to when you were here. And it's very important that you are able to balance those expectations out, because that is the nature of traveling. That is the nature of being physically removed from a place. Time still carries on while you're gone. And I do think that this is both something that you need to accept, as well as something that you may need to prepare for if you haven't started traveling yet. You need to prepare yourself for the fact that your priorities are probably very different to your peers, and you may be removing yourself from a community, this Venus retrograde, in a way where you could feel like you don't have certain things that you can relate to with those people anymore. It also just feels like some sort of alienation. This Venus retrograde, maybe you're prioritizing things that other people aren't prioritizing. And I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong here. It just makes it hard to feel relatable and connected to a certain peer group. I can, on another note, see this energy of sort of moving in the shadows. And I wonder if it is a secret admirer, because it more so just feels like something that we're keeping secret, right? Some of you may have a connection to somebody this Venus retrograde that you don't want to publish everywhere. But there's a lot of energy going into this. There's a lot of time spent with this person. There is a lot of passion. And there is also a lot of communication, but it feels like it's not going to see the light of day. So I think with Matter Reverse, this is very much about how you are modeling your 3D world to be and how connected you are. There's a transience to this Venus retrograde energy of something that is impermanent, but it is taking up a lot of your energy. It's not here for a long time, but it feels like it is here for a good time. And it is something that I think may, and in hindsight, depending on how your personality is, I've got a lot of Capricorn placements in my chart, and I do think that that impacts my personality. It depends on how your personality is, because on one hand, you may feel like you're lagging, like you've accidentally dropped the ball on certain things because you were so consumed by this sort of behind the scenes exciting thing that you don't want to share with a lot of people. And on the other hand, you're going to feel like other people are lagging because they haven't been living life the way that you are. So there is this huge feeling of ultimately maybe being alienated from a group of people who are supposed to be your peers, who are supposed to be people who are ultimately there for you no matter what. And I do think that you may have secrets that you wouldn't even tell your most loyal, loving people in your life this Venus retrograde. There's certain things that they're missing out on in your life, and there's things that you're missing out on in their life because you seem very focused on other stuff that usually wouldn't come between you and those people. That's why it feels unusual, because usually this is not enough to sort of pull you away from them and vice versa. But under these circumstances, it's very hard for you to stay interacted and engaged in those things because you're so excited about this other thing that you're not telling anybody else about. Is there anything else they need to know about this, for better or for worse? Is there anything else group 1 needs to know? We have Temperance reversed and the 6 of Wands. Honestly, Six of Wands is about victory and success. Instead of doing it alone, it's like you want to prove to people that you can do this, that you can be successful. You don't need their help. You don't need their input. You don't need to burden them. They don't need to be a part of it. It's just for you. And you can experience a successful outcome all by yourself. But then we have the Queen of Cups reversed at the back of the deck and Temperance reversed. You're separating yourself from other people on purpose, Venus retrograde, okay? So remind yourself of that if you do start to get the blues. If you start to think, oh damn, like I wish my best friend was here. Remember that you did this intentionally and that it is a part of your journey. It's a part of you finding out what matters to you right now and being a bit more graceful towards self, but also feeling empowered and feeling like you can do this. There is a sense of victory about this, which is interesting. It's like your ego needs this. You need to feel good in this way. You really do. But with Temperance reversed, you're doing it at the expense of other priorities or other connections, other people. Going alone at the expense of spending time with them. I don't think that this is permanent, but just make sure that you're not actually like pushing people away who actually want to get close to you. It's going to resonate differently. But with the Queen of Cups at the back of the deck reversed, it just gives me sad vibes. It gives me like, you know what, like I thought we were going to do this together. Like, why the hell did you go on that trip by yourself? Or why did you choose to abandon me on that night out? Like, just make sure that these people understand what you're doing, because otherwise certain relationships are going to break down because of your choices. And it's being shown as selfish from their perspective. So just make sure you're communicating so that those relationships don't actually break down. It's an agreed upon separation. Okay, that's what I'm seeing. Let us keep moving forward. We'll have a look at this golden hour now. What can you tell us about this golden hour energy for group 1, please, Spirit? What can you tell us about this golden hour energy for group 1? About this golden hour energy for group 1. We have the Page of Pentacles. We also have the King of Pentacles, the Five of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles. Oh my gosh, your money, man, your money. Please look after your money. Please look after your money. You guys are changing careers, and that's fine. You definitely have an opportunity to do something big with your finances. Thank God we have the Wheel of Fortune at the back of the deck. I feel a lot better about this now. Let me just reset my camera and we'll keep. So thank God we have that Wheel of Fortune, because I can see that this Venus retrograde, there's going to be an opportunity to do something with your income that can ultimately help you get to a point of growth. But this is looking like some changes. This is looking like us needing to address issues and maybe restructure the way that we have been doing things, changing our jobs, changing our positions within a workplace situation, changing our expenses, having a look at how we can possibly do things differently when it comes to what is being spent and what is coming in. It looks like you guys are wanting more flexibility, but less responsibility. So this could limit your opportunities when it comes to money. You're having to be very, very careful about what you ultimately do with your money. The golden hour and the Wheel of Fortune tells me that that window is tight. So this is an opportunity. I do think that it's an opportunity that you're going to seize, but it's definitely an opportunity that seems to come very sort of serendipitously. It will feel like it's falling into your lap, but you have to, with your free will, claim it and make something out of it. And then with that Page of Pentacles reversed, this feels like you understanding your potential a little bit better and really unlocking something from a situation where you felt like maybe you had peaked, right? Sometimes a Page of Pentacles reversed can feel like, well, I'm being sort of underpaid and overworked, or I'm in a situation where I just can't learn anymore. So how am I supposed to gain anymore? They could say to you, well, you need more experience, but we're not going to fund your training, and we won't give you any time off to go and get more experience either. So it's like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to get experience? Sorry for swearing. So I do think that for a lot of you, you could be in that kind of situation and you're, again, looking for flexibility, but less responsibility. These changes could be difficult at first. The Five of Pentacles doesn't make that easy, but it is a card of change. It is a card of temporary change. It's not permanent. Could be a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months of adjusting to this new income and lifestyle. But eventually it will balance out, and eventually you'll get to a point where you feel like, damn, I'm so glad that I took that golden hour opportunity. So this is directly related to your material world, restructuring your priorities, in that you need to make sure that what you're spending is in line with what you're earning, and that there is a comfortability between the two, right? We're not just sort of drowning in our expenses every month. So pay attention to that, because sometimes the Two of Pentacles reverse can look like sacrifice. What can you tell us about that Two of Pentacles sacrificing energy? Oops. This deck is not liking me today. What can you tell me about that Two of Pentacles sacrificing energy for my group ones? The Three of Wands reversed. You may have to turn your back on something that you were hoping for. It could have been you were waiting, you're wanting to do more traveling, or you're wanting to do this. You're going to have to ground yourself and get a bit more realistic and practical about what you can actually do, not too ambitious. With the Six of Swords reverse, it does look like canceling a trip, being more aware of the fact that your movements and how you are traveling is what is using the most sort of income. This could be a short trip, like maybe your trip to work, your commute to work is expensive. It could be a longer trip with the Three of Wands. This looks like long distance travel. You may need to, really restructure your priorities here with the Hierophant as well. There is a strong energy of sacrifice here, making little sacrifices when it comes to your expenses that have to do with travel, so that you can get on top of this golden hour opportunity with your income. I also see with the Six of Swords reversed that this could be a case of going back to basics, going back to a way of thinking or a way of doing at a simpler time, so that you're not overcomplicating the situation, just going back to your roots when it comes to this. If you came from a position where you did have to be a bit more conscious and careful. Is there anything else you can tell them though about this? Spirit is saying, keep in mind this is temporary though. This isn't like years of struggling ahead. This is a temporary situation. Nine of Wands, yeah. You just need to be a little bit more creative and re-strategize. When something isn't working, see it as a sign to look for a creative solution, right? If something is a symptom of, wow, we've overspent this month, we'll have a look at what's going on and think of a creative solution. You don't have to technically live in a lack mentality. You don't have to tell yourself, like, I can't do this, I can't have this. You should instead supplement that with, okay, so this month's going to be a little tight resource-wise. So instead of getting the $6 a liter milk, maybe I'm going to go for, just your regular $2 a liter milk. Making those smarter choices, finding those creative solutions so that you're technically not missing out on anything could really, really help. And that could help restructure the situation so that we're not headed for a feeling of like, damn, like I'm trying so hard and I'm not getting enough in return. You have to feel rewarded for your results as well. I hope that makes sense, because I do think that the best thing you can do is to not limit your experiences. So just get a bit more thrifty with them, right? Be a thrifty spender instead of a champagne spender, because let's be honest, there's not a lot of champagnes that actually taste amazing anyway. And not a lot of champagnes are actually champagne. They're just sparkling wine. So let's keep going. We'll have a look at this Supernova card now. What is this Supernova card telling? Oh, okay, we will take it. Ten of Swords reversed. What is the Supernova card about for my group ones, this Venus retrograde? Eight of Swords reversed. What else can you tell us? And the Tower reversed with the Knight of Cups reversed. I need some more water, you guys. Okay, how are we feeling about this? Oh my gosh. Okay, Supernova is like, wow, the diamond in the rough, because it's an explosion, but out of that explosion comes something good. This is interesting. Okay, so this Venus retrograde, in lieu with all of these new experiences, all of these brief encounters, I do think that you're going to be attracting something quite substantial. You could be feeling like there's a lot of people that are just coming back towards you, and that's what a retrograde can do as well. A retrograde can really dredge things up from your past and kind of slap them in front of you and go, what are you going to do about this? But from these experiences comes something good with this Knight of Cups energy. Now, a Knight of Cups is the intention to engage and pursue for romantic reasons, right? So there's somebody here that is looking at you, group one, and going, damn, I would like to taste that. Sorry. But with all of this here, I don't know how the hell they're going to get there. Like, bang, 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 bang. You know what I mean? Like, this is a lot to work through. This is a lot to work through. This supernova energy is like, listen, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. If you are looking for a serious relationship, you need to start doing and stop making excuses. It's very important that you don't let your experiences from your past stop you from allowing new people close. It's as if you don't try, you'll never know. And if you don't give them the chance, then you'll never know. There's a strong feeling here of you got to start somewhere with the Tower card reversed. Connection for you has to start somewhere. And this almost feels like the case of like when it rains, it pours. There's a lot of like cliches coming out, a lot of like metaphors and things that you just hear way too much. When it rains, it pours. You might be saying to yourself, like, I've got so much going on right now. Like, I can't take this on. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for that. But the universe is going to test you. The universe is going to be like, here's exactly what you want. While you're still rebuilding yourself in your life, while you're still overcoming certain insecurities and having to fight for your sense of self and independence, and while you're still recovering from a previous feeling or experience of being betrayed and let down, here is your dream situation, person, relationship, while all of this is still happening. And I do think that group 3, the supernova card, is a scary but intense and intentional card, right? Like it's the idea of something really just coming to a point and exploding in order to create. And out of the supernova is a star here. But we may be more focused on a lot of the chaos that is happening. And we may be needing to take this very slow with this person. This could feel like another distraction, especially after everything else we've covered. You might be like, damn, this is what that lady was saying when she told me that I was going to be distracted. Like, who is this? Why are they here amidst all this chaos? I actually think that this person is the diamond amidst all of that chaos. Spirit, what does group 1 need to know about this interest? I'm going to say love interest, and you just tailor it to your situation, whether this is a friendship kind of love or a romantic kind of love. Who is this love interest to my group 1 spirit during Venus retrograde? 7 of Wands reversed. I'm hearing the object of my desire. Wow. 7 of Cups. Yeah. They're one of your many options. You've got other things going, but you're very attracted to this person. There's a pull there. If this is platonic, you two have made plans. You will make plans to meet up. And there's this strong feeling of like, they're one of the options, right? With the 7 of Wands reversed, they make it very easy for you. They come towards you. They pursue you. They want to spend time with you, group 1. But it's confusing because you have other things that you've got to do as well. You have other people, there are other responsibilities or just other choices that you have. This person may be an overgiver. They may make it very easy for you to see them. Like they're not wanting to let up that easily. What is in their best interest, group 1, when it comes to this person? Nine of Pentacles reversed. Okay. I did see a 2 of Cups fall on the ground. Okay, I'm getting a few messages. Devil's at the back of the deck. This is somebody that you can really overindulge with, right? It's very easy with this person to feel like codependent almost. You just get wrapped up in each other. So it is in your best interest to practice boundaries and to just be aware of how you may be taking advantage of a good thing, if that makes sense. You could be trying to put certain boundaries and parameters on this when actually this is a perfect example of communicating your needs is going to help the two of you be on the same page. I think that this could just be a fleeting thing, but if you wanted, it could be more serious. You just have to figure out if that's what you're both feeling. You have to talk about, is that what you both want? I think this could be a case of like trying to dance with the devil and then falling in love, right? Not with the devil itself, but with trying to do something fiendish and then recognizing that actually this isn't a fiendish setting. This is a romantic setting. I think that your feelings for this person will will be deeper than you realize. And there's nothing wrong with saying no, I'm not ready to do that. But I also think that saying yes could give you a very positive outcome if you're more honest with yourself about how you feel for this person, and especially if you're honest with them about how you feel for them as well, because I think they're doing the exact same thing, masking how they truly feel just so they can continue to see you and spend time with you. With the Magician card reversed, not having conversations is what is going to make you feel imprisoned in this situation. Withholding communication and trying to play this game is what is going to bring in deception and a sense of being a pawn rather than a player. So I do think that ultimately, even if you end up not being on the same page, the best thing you can do is have conversations once you start to feel those deeper feelings come through. Have a chat about what you're feeling and about what you're thinking as well, because I do think that would help open things up for this person. It just feels like you've met them in a place and time where there's a lot of chaos and you weren't really ready. So that's what I'm seeing for you, my group ones. We need to take this into your extended now for sure. There's a few things that I want to ask about, so I'm going to get my little voice note app up so that I can take some voice notes for you. And then if there's anything else we need to add, we can do that as well. Okay. Where are we looking? Voice note. Okay. So group one, in your extended reading, I want to know more about your love interests. I want to have a look at how many people you're dealing with, what the nature of those relationships are. We can just quickly check, is this romantic, platonic, etc. We're also going to have a look at what you need to know about these connections, what the outcomes are, and maybe just the purpose, because there's nothing wrong with fleeting moments, but I do think it'd be good to get you prepared for the flings versus the ones that you end up actually catching feelings for. We can also ask how you're going to meet if you don't know as well. The other thing I need to get confirmation about is this change in your material world. What is that about exactly? Is there any advice around what you should be prepared for? Is there any way to be more prepared? And is there any advice on how to be the most successful in this situation? Is there any advice about what you're leaving behind? We are also going to have a look at the people that you're leaving behind. Is there any advice there as well? We'll see where that leads us, group one. If there's anything else that pops up, we can definitely explore it. We'll have plenty of time to do that. But if that sounds intriguing, and especially if the first part of your reading did resonate, then the link to your extended reading will be in the description box. If you would like to join me there, that link will take you to my website. So it's very important that you click on the right group. Remember, you are group one of the Venus retrograde reading. So make sure that you click on the right group before you purchase it. Please, group one, please, please, please triple check before you purchase it. Thank you so much, group one, for all of your time and energy and support right here on YouTube. I appreciate you so much for being here. I hope this reading was helpful, insightful, and informative. We're wishing you all the best for the next 30 odd days in this retrograde period and beyond. Look after your beautiful self, and I hope to connect with you in another video. Bye. Hi, my group twos, and welcome to your reading. If you chose this Aries card or this sodalite crystal heart, then this is going to be your reading. Welcome. I'm going to pop your Aries card down here, and we'll put your crystal heart next to group one's heart there. Maybe I should just remove group one's heart just to make it less confusing. There we go, group two. Now in today's video, we're asking Spirit about what Venus retrograde is going to bring for you. How is Venus retrograde going to impact you? What is going to happen for you? And basically any information about what is happening in that time period. So as I mentioned in the intro, Venus retrograde started on July 22nd and it will continue until about September 3rd. Obviously it's relative to your time zone, so double check. I usually go off where most of my viewers are, and most of y'all are in the Northern Hemisphere, specifically in the US. So it's relative to your time zone, so check it out, double check the exact dates. However, Venus retrograde is an astrological event that occurs every 18 months roughly. So this period is going to be a big sort of opportunity for us to shift energy, especially energy that is associated with our sort of Venus placements for the next 18 months. Oh, my stomach is not agreeing with me. Maybe it's time to just get into it. Maybe it's time for me to just get into it. So I'm curious to see what is going to be happening for you. These oracle cards are indicating key themes that you can expect to experience during Venus retrograde. So while I lay these cards out, please make sure that you have something to write with and something to write on, ultimately something to take notes with, and a hydration source. And let's get into it. We also have the Pilgrim here. So we have Aries and the Pilgrim. The Pilgrim is the number 20 in this deck. And then from my Cosmos Oracle deck, so that deck was the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. This is the Cosmos Oracle deck. We have Proton, if she will focus. Proton. We also have Solar Zenith. And we have Entropy. Interesting. Entropies in Solar Zenith are supposed to be like that, and Proton's supposed to be reversed. Sorry, I must have picked them up backwards. Okay. Okay, let's see how we feel about this. So key themes, let's start with Aries, group 2. This Venus retrograde is definitely going to be bringing you, I'm hearing desire, but like, so group 1 got Ascendant, right? And Ascendant is like new things, first impressions. And Aries can sometimes indicate that because it is connected to the first house. It is connected to the Ascendant. But for you, I'm picking up on more of that Mars influence with Aries, more of, especially because it is Mars on this card, it is a feeling of action, a feeling of power, a feeling of going after what you want and feeling like you're going to be successful in it, feeling like life is all about experience and not letting things sort of hold you back. Some of y'all are really taking things to the next level in Venus retrograde. Now, Venus can impact our values, it can impact our relationships, but it ultimately can impact how we see ourselves and how we let others sort of see us as well. So I do think that with this Aries energy, some of y'all are definitely taking things up a level, and you're going to be feeling very motivated and driven to make things happen. I'm going to get an elaboration with tarot, but I can see this applying to your personal growth, especially trying to fulfill goals that you've already started. So the thing about this is you're being ambitious, but you're also feeling so confident that you know that what you're going to step towards is yours. Like, I can see you really ticking a lot of boxes during this retrograde season and feeling really accomplished and more confident in who you are. Pilgrim reversed is like an interesting energy of like no longer wondering. And I do wonder if you're going to feel more certain. Some of you are really taking a relationship to the next level, and it starts from your relationship to self. You feel more certain of who you are, of what you want, of what you need. And this is really playing into how you want things to go in the future. And that is reflecting upon people taking you more seriously too. But it's the kind of seriousness in that you're gaining a lot of admiration, a lot of respect. People may be inspired to even follow suit. They may be looking at you, group 2, and going, damn, I want to do what group 2's doing. I do sense a little bit of envy around you. Some of y'all are getting a following of people who are wanting to keep up with you, and I don't think it's going to impact you too much. You may just notice the energy has shifted a bit. Like, instead of it being overly friendly, there is this sort of disposition of wanting to kind of put you in your place a little bit. There could be little remarks or underhanded sort of remarks of what you're doing. I don't know why. I feel like Aries people get a lot of envy for some reason. When you're just literally doing your best, you're living your best life, doing your best self. Misunderstood. Pilgrim's interesting too, because I think that a journey is coming to an end for you in a good way. Like, you're no longer feeling like you're having to fight or guess or be challenged. Like there's this closure, this sense of conclusion and closure, as though it's coming to a head and it's making a bit more sense now, group 2. The pilgrimage ends is what I'm hearing. The long journey of trying to find is ending. So you found yourself and now you're finding companionship. Interesting. Proton's theme is interesting too, because this is an energy of attraction. But when it's reversed, there is repulsion here. So a major theme could be rejection. You guys may be needing to push people away, reject a few, break a few hearts. I'm hearing you're a heartbreaker. Isn't that a song? I can't play it on YouTube, but let me just bring it up real quick. Heartbreaker. I'm a heartbreaker. If you're a millennial, you would know that song. Heartbreaker. There's a few songs. Actually, obviously there's the Mariah Carey version too. Dionne Warwick. I'm a heartbreaker by will.i.am. Dang. It's not the most like profound song, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not out here trying to show you guys Beethoven or the Symphony Number 9 by Mozart, but it is still good. It is still good in that it is a little piece of history. And it was when will.i.am was at his peak. Where it's at, I know karma's coming to pay me back. I'm the sweetest thing that's on the map. I broke her heart in 30 seconds flat, in 30 seconds flat. Now how did I become that kind of guy to look at girl and lie right in the eye? My mama told me, Willie, that ain't right. Boy, now that ain't right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break your heart. I didn't mean to break it, baby. Look, baby, I'm a heartbreaker. I'm a heartbreaker. Yeah, it's literally so repetitive, actually. Looking at the lyrics makes me cringe. But that's the vibes with Proton. And will.i.am could have some significance. Who knows? But yeah, pushing people away, kind of keeping them at arm's length. Proton is interesting because you're probably attracting more than you actually want during Venus retrograde. This also makes me think that you're having boundaries for a reason, and we can't write off the fact that retrograde season does bring back exes. So there could be a few little stragglers, you know, coming in looking for a reconnection of some sorts and expecting you to be really open. I do think that this Proton energy is very strongly connected to you making sure that you're very clear about what you are attracting. So for some of you, Aries is saying you're nobody's fool. Like you're out here with intent, determination, and willpower, and you're not going to waver for something that you don't want. I do think with solar zenith here, there is also this feeling of direction, a clear path, clarity. You know how you want to move forward. You know what you should be doing to move forward in your best interest. I'm going to double check solar zenith because there's something there that I've missed as well. And it also feels like there is, excuse me, yes, there is this, okay, I'm seeing attitude, but yes, beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. But what I'm seeing is with the solar zenith, you're getting to a peak where you feel like you can see things very clearly, getting that clarity that you need. Venus retrograde is going to really illuminate things for you, but there's two ways of looking at solar zenith. There's the astronomy way, and then there's this intuitive way that I'm feeling. So what's the word? Astronomy wise? Astronomically, yeah, I think that's it. Astronomically, solar zenith is this perfect alignment of the sun to the point where you're able to, and apparently it's only relative to two parts of the world, Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, where the sun's rays kind of hit our line of sight or the Earth's angle at 90 degrees. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so it's this idea of us getting a perfect sort of, and it could also mean that things in that wave, in that, around that sort of line of the Earth's latitude, get hit by the sun quite aggressively, right? Anything close to the Tropic of Cancer or Capricorn gets such a clear vision of those rays where it might kind of impact them differently than other parts of the world. It could also mean that things stay bright for longer there during the darker times of the years. But I think with you, intuitively, this solar zenith energy is very much an energy of, okay, so we're getting this higher perspective, we're getting this higher clarity, and we're getting this energy of awareness that we didn't have prior to Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde is giving you the chance to really see things from a higher level, and this solar zenith is illuminating things for you. It could mean that things are coming together in alignment in such a perfect way that some of y'all are feeling pressured to really just take advantage of that. And in terms of your relationships, I think that Venus retrograde is really showing you the clarity on one person in your life and how much of a significance that person is. There is this sense of individuality amongst that, though. Like, I can't deny that some of y'all are feeling good, looking good, and you don't want to compromise for anything less than the best. Solar Zenith could be showing you how important it is to really put this Aries attitude towards self and to really hold yourself to such high standards or expectations. And to be accountable as well and to move towards the things that you want. Now, with this entropy, there is a theme here of separation. Venus retrograde could, by illuminating certain things, push you away from certain people. It's giving tall poppy syndrome because there are a few cards in this deck that show separation, right? But entropy is like the particles separating. So it could feel like you and a group are no longer as close as you were, or you and a few different people are no longer as close as you were. Venus retrograde might be pulling you away from a group of peers, a community, a workplace, a situation, to show you how you have outgrown it, to show you how you are now different. And I feel it's natural, to be honest with you. Like, entropy can sometimes just give us the freedom to explore and pivot and do our own thing, knowing that we're still a part of a collective, we're still friends, but we're being given that chance to do our own thing. Venus retrograde could be making you feel like you no longer sort of have a strong connection to a group of people, but I'm also getting comparison. It feels like you're comparing yourself to people your age, or to people in your social group, or to people in your workplace. And it feels like this is a good for you because it's putting things into perspective again. It's making you go, well, wow, like they have this, I don't. I have this, they don't. While I would usually preach that comparison is the thief of joy, I feel like in this case, comparison is helping you work through relativity. It's helping you understand what you need to focus more on, and it's helping you get inspired to take action towards the things that you want as well. Some of you may be gravitating towards new points of interest when it comes to mentors or inspirations or just a peer group that you want to be around. It's an interesting theme, so let's get into it without further ado. Let's have a look at this pilgrim energy in depth with tarot. So those are the key themes, but let's have a look at exactly what you can expect during Venus retrograde. Spirit, clarify this pilgrim energy for my group 2s. We have the Four of Cups reversed. Whoa. Knight of Swords. No, I won't back down. I'll stand my ground. Interesting. Pilgrim. Somebody left and now they're coming back. They're backtracking a little bit to be like, hey, 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 hey. Did I miss something here? Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so I want to take a drink, but I feel like I've kept you in suspense for too long. So here's what I'm seeing. what felt like a missed opportunity is resurfacing to go, hey man, don't forget about me. Group 2, remember me? Group 2, give me attention, please. Group 2, I'm still here. Group 2, I know you thought that things weren't going to change, but they are changing. I'm here now. Group 2, I'm here. Like, some of y'all didn't forget about this person, but you just didn't count them in. You were like, oh, they're there, but they're just not interested. And they're like running in. Look at this. Imagine if this card was upright. They wouldn't be facing each other. You would have your back on this person. The card's reversed. You're looking at them. You're going, oh, okay, hi. Someone who has been on their own journey, this Venus retrograde, is coming back to say, where are we, what are we, and where can we go from here? The Six of Wands is saying this person wants a lot of your attention. They like the way that your attention makes them feel. They want to be seen by you. They might even do something to really get you to notice them, something quite grand, something to make themselves look good, feel good. I'm seeing a mustache. For some of you, facial hair is significant on this person. But I see bold, grand gestures. They're coming in fast, which means they may not have a lot of explanations to the answer to the questions that you have, but they still want to come towards you and they still want to be heard and seen by you. What is this person's intentions? The Four of Swords. Oh my God, you're joking. What is this person's intentions? Okay, coming in hot and then dipping out faster. What is this person's intentions towards group 2, please, Spirit? Two of Cups. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. In the World, the Eight of Cups. Okay, so this person isn't expecting the most, right? They're not coming in and expecting a happy ending, but they are coming in to see where they stand with you. So the communication is quick. The communication is very quick. In Venus retrograde, this person doesn't want you to forget about them. So they're going to kind of do what they can to make sure that you are still remembering them and thinking about them. And then with the Two of Cups being here, they want to have a conversation about where they stand with you. There is this energy of I'm open to compromise. There is also this energy of having a heart-to-heart conversation. But with the World card being here, there is also a feeling of closure and of gaining closure to ultimately decide how to move forward from here, right? And there is this feeling of leaving things on the right terms with you. So whoever this is, they're determined to make sure that they leave things on the right terms with you. They don't want you to feel like you're waiting for them. They don't want them to feel like they're waiting for you. If you decide you don't want to cultivate anything more, then that's fine. But at least you had that conversation and now that door can be closed once and for all. This is also somebody who I feel has been confused about where they stand with you. That's why they're coming towards you. They may have been on a pilgrimage. They may have been physically at a distance to you, doing other things, having to preoccupy their energy and their time to just sort of distract them from the fact that like their things were up in the air with you. But they were thinking about you while they were doing that. And they're hoping that you are still thinking about them as well. Okay, so that's the pilgrim. Let's have a look at this Aries energy now. Oh, not some lightning and thunder. Hang on, you guys. I just got to make sure that that was actually lightning and not something in my backyard falling over. Okay, sorry about that, group 2, but lucky I checked because I had a window open and the rain has definitely picked up. So all good things. All right, but let's move forward. We're going to have a look at Aries now. For my group 2s, what is this Aries energy about this Venus retrograde season? What is this Aries energy about for group 2? Well, Two of Wands, Three of Swords, Four of Wands. Thank you, Spirit. The Knight of Pentacles reversed and the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, listen, you got a lot to prove and not a lot to lose, so why not keep moving forward? This is a strong energy of really trying to make sure that you are embracing what is in front of you and that you're not dwelling on what is behind you, because it does feel like you've got a lot to prove to yourself. This Aries energy is about recovery. It is about direction. It is about standing up for yourself, but also claiming things for yourself. And with this Knight of Pentacles reversed, it's also about you feeling like, okay, one step at a time was getting me there in the past, but now I need to really consider moving things forward without delay, without procrastination. Some of you are going back to the drawing board with this Aries energy and you're like, you know what? Being safe and careful isn't working for me. I need to do this instead. I need to maybe be a bit more bold. I need to maybe rewrite my plan altogether. Or I need to just scrap the plan and just go by how I feel. The goal here seems to be action and moving forward and feeling confident and having direction. You don't want to be stuck in deliberation mode. You don't want to be stuck in planning mode. You don't want to be stuck in your past choices, your past pains, your past sort of issues. And with the Four of Wands here, you also want to make sure that you are giving yourself the chance to, what's the best word for it? Take action before you settle. Some of you guys, Venus retrograde is showing you that you don't want to settle. You don't want to stagnate. You don't want to get into something that suffocates you. You want to grow. You want to improve, and you want to feel like things can be better for you. So I can see how with this Ten of Wands reversed, you're being very careful about how you move forward and about what you do for yourself to move forward. This Ten of Wands reversed is very much about you feeling like you have choices again and like you have actions to take again. And it's not so much about feeling overwhelmed and confused by your choice. It's more about recognizing that you're moving forward and you're taking action towards your choice. It's like it's in your control again. In order to do this, some of you may need to let go of what is out of your control. You may need to even leave oppressing situations behind. You may need to leave dependent people behind. You may need to liberate yourself from situations that have become overbearing and that have made you feel like you're responsible for them or for their burdens or their choices. I can see how this Ten of Wands reversed is you really setting yourself free. And Aries is exciting for you. Aries is a chance to move forward without looking back. It could seem like you're leaving a lot behind, but the truth is I think that you were just sitting in that for way too long. So let's keep moving forward. I'm intrigued to see what Proton is about for you now as well. What is this Proton energy about for my group twos? What is this Proton energy about for my group twos, please, Spirit? Tune me into this energy for group two, please, Spirit. What is this Proton energy about for group two? It's interesting. I'm hearing Snooze by SZA. I was listening to it all morning, to be fair. I think I even posted it on my story on Instagram. I can lose when I'm with you. I can't sing like her, but the energy is there. The intention is there. So at the back of the deck, hang on a second. Cute. I need to bring up my voice recorder app just to make sure that we're all ready to go. There we go. We're going to record your extended reading at the end. Group two. Yeah, Snooze is coming through very strongly. I'm sorry, I'm getting so many messages intuitively, and I feel like I'm not talking about them. I'm just channeling them within self. So let's externalize some of this, shall we? Group two, Snooze is a big deal with this Proton energy. There is an energy of delusion, and I think that some people are a little bit delusional about you. I think that there are some people that are a bit too sort of obsessed or attached to you, but it's not like a healthy way. It's a feeling of they don't know you well enough. They don't know you like that. They're attached to the idealized version of you, to the romanticized version of you. They're attached to the what if this, what if that version of you, the would have, could have, should have's. You're separating yourself from people that aren't as crystal clear as you are, that aren't as action orientated as you are, that aren't as assertive as you are. And that's not coming from a place of masculinity. It's coming from a place of assertion and being certain about who you are and what you want. It does feel like there is a more masculine energy here, but I do feel like a lot of you are going to be very specific and careful about letting people get close to you in Venus retrograde. You don't want certain people to even consider reaching out to you. You don't want to feel like you're under anyone's thumb, and you're definitely distancing yourself from people that just can't give you what you are looking for. So in that respect, I can see people getting a bit delusional here, and kind of people having a lot of crushes on you, or a lot of people having crushes on you that don't really turn into things. So Proton is an energy of, I want to say, missed opportunities, but it also just feels like people kind of trying to get close and you having to say no. Like even with this Page of Cups reverse, this is a no energy. This is a no, sorry, like I appreciate the gesture, but I'm nipping this in the bud. This isn't what I'm looking for, but I appreciate you for trying. This isn't going to be enough for me, but thanks, I guess. And then you really didn't come correct, so why would I let you any further beyond that? Like the Seven of Wands especially is definitely an energy of an underdog and someone who feels like the odds are stacked against them, but they're going to have to really try and push through. So you might have a lot of people just watching you with this Proton energy, watching you get better and just sort of lingering around the outskirts. In the same way, some of y'all came into this reading with the idea of I don't have a lot to lose. But no, you do. In some respects, you do actually, because you have to be careful with this Proton reversed about losing what you do have to the wrong people. And you know that this Venus retrograde, that's why some of these people don't even get the chance. So that's a key theme as well. But I want to have a look at Solar Zenith now to see how that kind of plays into that energy. Interesting. So many people. I wonder who your primary love interest is. We'll have a look after this, I think, because I'm getting very curious. I don't know. We had someone pop out here, but what if they fall in line with that? You know what I mean? Like we need to know who's your primary love interest with all of this energy. Solar Zenith, please, Spirit. Can we clarify what Solar Zenith is offering Root 2 this Venus retrograde? Emperor. Oops. We also have Just Stars. Five of Pentacles. Three of Wands. And then Five of Swords. Let me have a quick sip. Okay. Five of Swords. Solar Zenith. I'm choosing to walk away because this situation is not going anywhere for me. And I have something better that I can now look forward to. It's a win or lose situation. I don't really feel victorious, but I don't want to lose. And you're not leaving for something better. You're actually risking leaving into nothing, because nothing is better than staying. Getting a sense of positive karma because of this, a feeling of fairness. But also having to let somebody else down. So this Venus retrograde season, there is this scenario of you turning your back on somebody in order to get your peace, in order to get your harmony, and in order to feel like karma is being delivered out of your hands. Like, you know, you just have to focus on what is best for you, and what is best for them will come for them. You are walking away. This could be a family situation, especially with the Emperor energy here. Could feel like you're having to turn your back on an authoritative sort of person, a parent. But ultimately, that Emperor energy is the energy of you recognizing that what you're doing is for self. Like, you're doing it at the expense of somebody else, and you may even be doing it against the advice of somebody around you. Someone you look up to could be saying, like, group 2, what are you doing? You shouldn't be doing this. But you're like, you know what? Like, I'm just sick of waiting. I'm just sick of not doing anything. Like, I have to do something, so I may as well do something for me instead of doing it at the expense. Some of y'all are very used to being silenced and passive, and this energy is not about that. This energy is about really overcoming that and making sure that you aren't being passive, making sure that you aren't delaying actions and choices. Solar Zenith is definitely the clarity, but it's also the courage. It feels like courage to be able to walk away and move forward and do what you know is right for you, even if it's at the expense of somebody else and against the advice of someone that you look up to and love. So I can't help but feel like this energy is very much about feeling like you don't want to wait anymore. You just want to move ahead, and you want to make sure that you aren't procrastinating on the things that you want anymore. Your Venus retrograde is very empowering, group 2. It's very much about self. It's very much about stepping into your power and taking that back. What is entropy about? What is entropy about for my group 2s during Venus retrograde? Oops. Okay, the Ace of Cups. What is entropy about? The Seven of Cups. The Eight of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. The Nine of Cups and the Ten of Wands. We won't take those. Oh, Spirit wants me to look at them though. Yeah, okay. Okay, she's a bit messy. She's got a lot to say apparently. Let's move that. Is that a bit better? Yeah. Okay, my group 2s. So entropy was this idea of like particle separation, right? And in Venus retrograde, it felt like distance. It felt like putting yourself at a distance to a group of people, or feeling separated from a group of people, or just sort of feeling like, you know what, this isn't what I want for myself anymore. I need to distance myself from this, and I need to start focusing more on what I want. I need to find new inspiration, new points of reference. So the thing about the tarot is saying that you have a very clear idea of what you want. And you may have choices, you may have options, you may even have one of those options become more obvious during Venus retrograde. Someone could come forward and be like, hey, sweet soul, I want what you have. Are you interested? But it does feel like not only are you not wanting to settle, but you're also not wanting to make things worse for yourself right now. Your own emotional well-being is very important to you this Venus retrograde season. You're not willing to risk that for whoever's willing to put their hand out. You're very focused on yourself. You may even still be recovering from a sense of heartbreak or betrayal. And you may also just be thinking a lot about your past and how that past history is shaping you into who you are today. Some of you are very, very focused on your own goals. You're focused on your career. You're focused on your money. You're focused on saving. You're focused on your responsibilities. You're focused on your own happiness, your own well-being, that you're not really focused on the wealth of opportunities that you have to engage and connect with other people romantically. It feels like you have a lot more interest around you friendship-wise. There's a lot of people wanting to spend time with you during Venus retrograde. So it's up to you to balance that with your responsibilities, your priorities, and to kind of figure out who you want to spend time with. For a lot of you, I definitely see you letting people down and having to say, you know what, no, like I'm not feeling it. You may be rejecting a lot of people to focus more on your own well-being. and your own mental health. You guys may also be missing somebody, and even though you have all of these new wonderful shiny offers and opportunities coming towards you, it doesn't change the fact that you're missing something very specific to you, and that you want that one thing more than you want these other things. So if anything, I think that entropy is about you trying to figure out how to distribute your attention as well as your emotions and your needs, because that's the other thing too. Venus can sometimes be about our needs and what we value. And I do think that you're staying very true to your values, this Venus retrograde, to the point where you're very aware of how other people can compromise your values or can compromise your needs. You don't want to compromise your needs. You want people to add to them. You don't want to feel like you're sacrificing for other people. So that's, oh, hi, sweet boy. You want to play? I'm still filming, don't you know? So that's what I'm seeing with entropy. I know, little legs. I know. It's raining, so we can't go for a walk. How disappointing. Let us have a look at who your primary love interest is now. Spirit, who is Group 2's primary love interest? During Venus retrograde. Who is, oh no, not the waning gibbous. Nah, I lie, sorry, it's not a bad card. It's not a bad card. It's just giving X vibes. Third house. Who is, oh no, it's not, my bad. It's giving stalker vibes. Who is Group 2's primary love interest? It's giving I've been watching you. Yeah, I've been watching you. I have been watching you. Let me double check something about Venus. Oh my days. Waning gibbous. Okay. Sorry. I promise I am completely sober right now. I'm just a bit silly. Yeah. Cute. Okay, so this is the interesting thing about this energy. Astrologically, this is definitely somebody who's been having their eye on you. This is definitely somebody who's had a lot of time to think about you. They've had enough time to observe you. They have a connection to you via social media for a lot of you. And they are spending a lot of time trying to understand how to sort of connect to you. This person could feel like they're your soulmate for Juno to come out. They could also feel like you are someone that could make them very, very happy. This is somebody who I think is very attractive. I also think they may appear more extroverted online, at least. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is somebody who is a slow burner. Someone who's just been lingering in your social circle. Your primary love interest is someone who you have a solid connection with. There are similarities, there are sort of kindred interests and traits within your personalities that help you to feel very connected to one another and very easily, like it's easy for certain feelings to be mutual, right? There's a healing energy about this person's presence. Even if they do trigger or challenge, they actually 9 times out of 10 come from a place of healing and understanding. And the third house is talking about them sharing a community. Excuse me, no. Out. You're too distracting. Out. Come on. Out. Good boy. Out. Are you going to listen? Sorry, Group 2, you're not supposed to hear this. There's this sort of kindred energy about them being around you, and I do think that they share some sort of community with you because they've been able to watch you for some time. They've been able to, you don't you dare. They've been able to get an understanding of who you are and how the two of you kind of work well together. This person could have been the pilgrim. Let's double check. Spirit, How does group 2 know this person? Queen of Cups, you have feelings for them too. You have feelings for them too. You have a cup of affection. For those who are very closed off, this is the one person that you actually do tolerate. Yeah, you enjoy this person's attention. You like when this person reaches out to you. And maybe they do reach out to you more than you reach out to them. Their attention is very validating. Leo is coming through strongly, but technically we do have Libra, a little bit of Scorpio, Gemini. I want to say Pisces, but I'm not confident in that. 7 of Pentacles reversed. And obviously Aries is here too. This person is someone you don't want to wait around for, but there is history. There was a feeling of maybe working on something and then pulling the plug, right? Because the 7 of Pentacles feels like you almost wasted your time, or you didn't want to waste your time with them. There is a history there though. And you made the judgment call to pull the plug, to focus on other things, other responsibilities, your priorities, your job, your career, your values, your family, your events, whatever else, because this just wasn't progressing in the way that you wanted it to. So that is your primary love interest, sweet soul. They're the only one that has your heart or your eye. They're the only one that you seem focused on. And they're the only one that you actually have a part of your heart open to. So I'm going to leave your reading here because we need to go into the extended now. We're running out of time on YouTube and I need to get to group 3's reading. So I'm going to record this, but we're in your extended reading. We're going to be asking Spirit, how much of a role is your love interest playing during Venus retrograde? What impact are they making in your life? And what is the outcome between the two of you during Venus retrograde? What else do you need to know about this person's intentions towards you? And what should you know for self? Like, what should you do? What is your advice when interacting with them? We're going to ask about the other people, whether this is right for you to separate yourself from them. Is there any advice around how you could be handling this attention a little bit better, especially because some of it is unwarranted attention, and then others of it, it feels like you're shutting it down so early we don't even know. We're going to have a look at your goals. Is there anything else you need to know about your goals during Venus retrograde, about self-motivated goals, about your well-being? Is there any advice around that as well? So if that sounds interesting, group 2, if that's something that you want to find out for self, especially if the first part of your reading did resonate, then that link will be in the description box. I do think it's going to be a long reading. The first one was definitely, group 1's extended reading was longer than their first part of their reading. So I do think that it's going to be a lengthy one, and hopefully we can get many clear, honest, direct messages about what's in store for you during this Venus retrograde. But if this is where you are leaving me, thank you so much for all of your support and your time and your energy right here on YouTube. I really appreciate you for being here. If you are going into the extended, please make sure that you select the right group. You are group 2 of the Venus retrograde reading. You have the Sodalite heart, and you also have the Aries card. So remember that before you purchase, please make sure you selected the right group. Thank you so much, everybody in group 2, for being here, and I hope to connect with you in another video. Bye! Hi my group 3s, and welcome to your reading. If you chose this Rhodochrosite heart, or this 7 card, or this air card here, then this is going to be your reading. Welcome group 3. We are asking Spirit today about your Venus retrograde. What can you expect? How is Venus retrograde impacting you? Now I'm going to move group 2's heart out of the way, and we're going to put your heart up there, group 3. Before I get into it, sweet souls, make sure that you have something to take notes with, something to write with, something to write on, and a hydration source will be really helpful too. We've got a lot to cover. Group 1 and 2's reading was a lot longer than I expected. I'm not mad at it. I do think we needed that. So we'll see what's in store for you. I'm going to try to get as much clear, honest information as possible. And we're also going to go into an extended reading as well. So let's lay your cards out. For my group 2's, we have that air card. We have the 7. That was from the Celestial Bodies deck. And then from the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck, we have the King. And then from the Cosmos Oracle, we have Quantum Entanglement. We also have Tidal Force. I might try to zoom out a little bit. We're a bit too close to this. A bit too close. We're not going to be able to see the cards. And we have sidereal, space. Interesting. Okay. Let me just get my little notepad out because I'm going to take some notes. How do I feel about this for you? So these oracle cards, my group 3's, they represent the key themes that you're likely to experience throughout Venus retrograde. Now, just a reminder, Venus retrograde started on July 22nd, and it will continue until September 3rd, when Venus will become direct, or will be stationary. So the thing about this retrograde period is Venus does go retrograde every 18 months, and that retrograde period lasts about 40 days. So technically speaking, in one way, you can look at this as an opportunity for energy to move and prepare you for 18 months worth of shifts before it starts to do things differently again. It may impact us differently, but usually Venus retrograde will impact your values, your sense of self in terms of your appearance. It can impact relationships because it impacts the way you love and how you choose to be loved. And it can impact things that you invest your time into because it will shape your values, or it will shift your values. The energy can also impact how you treat yourself and how you let others treat you, and how you choose to sort of love others as well. So we can see some big changes in our personal relationships, and we can also ultimately see changes in our self and how we treat ourselves in our own relationship with self. So let's get into it, my group 3's. What I'm seeing with this air energy and the 7 is I feel like this Venus retrograde is about putting things into a different perspective. I think that Venus retrograde is about maybe expanding your mind and giving yourself the opportunity to see things in a bigger way. We're looking at Aquarius and Libra at the top of this triangle of air energy, and Gemini's at the bottom. So I would argue that many of you will feel compelled to put others' needs first. And I do think that some of you are going to be a little bit more humanitarian than you usually are, feeling a little bit more charitable, a little bit more involved in other people's lives. And I think that this has a lot to do with some of you feeling like equality matters, and you may get over involved in other people's problems, in what isn't working for them. Some of you may find yourself being very sort of charitable to a point where you're like, that's not right. Like, I need to make this right for you. I do see you stepping outside of yourself a lot. Like, there seems to be this overall view where you're here and you're looking down and you're trying to help like all these people. For this reason, I do think that some of you are going to take your relationships very seriously. And it could be that you guys are becoming over involved in other people's issues, where you may put yourself on the back burner. I do think that some of you need to be careful about not prioritizing prioritizing your own growth during this period. You may feel drawn towards what other people are going through and sort of prioritizing their lives at your own expense. With this 7 energy, I do see this as us feeling maybe like we have a big role to play in this Venus retrograde. If you're not taking on responsibility, you guys could be feeling like there are some big things happening and you need to make sure that you are ready for them. I can't help but feel like a lot of you are feeling like you have a lot of people or a lot of things that you have to do. Does that make sense? I can also see with this King energy that Venus retrograde is very much about you being able to prioritize what matters. And the thing about this King energy is it feels like a regal feeling, right? It feels like an energy of status, an energy of authority, an energy of power. But when we couple that with what we're seeing, I think that it's likely that some of you may be gravitating towards really shiny things during Venus retrograde. It could be likely that you'll make a big purchase or that money could be of importance to you. I can't help but feel like this King energy is about status and climbing the status sort of ladder. You guys may be brushing shoulders with really influential people. You may be around people who have a lot of money, or you may feel like you're in somebody else's world here and where like they're giving you an insight into how they live with their excessive resources or their abundant resources. Let's use that word instead. And I can't help but feel like this is making you feel like that too. Secondarily, you're like, you know what? Like some of you guys may make a big purchase in Venus retrograde and it feels like it's based off of status. Like it helps you feel like you're a part of this sort of society or this place where people afford these things and do these things. We'll have to clarify with tarot, but that's all I'm picking up on right now intuitively. And then with quantum entanglement in its shadow, I do think that some relationships are going to be put to the test. It could feel like little things are blown out of proportion during Venus retrograde. And it could also feel like a lot of big things happen at once. We'll see what tarot has to say about that, but it's making me think that either little issues are huge or big issues are abundant in relationships, because there seems to be bonds here that are impacted by little things, but we don't recognize them because of the fact that a lot of other stuff is happening at the same time. So watching out for that in relationships. We'll see what tarot has to say. I just want to check something really, really quickly. Am I missing anything there with quantum entanglement? Oh, quantum entanglement. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, intimately linked to each other, even if separated by billions of light years of space. So I love this theory, actually. That idea that particles are so connected, even though technically they're separated physically. With that being reversed, I do worry about a restructuring in a relationship, in that some of you guys could feel separated from somebody that you really care about, or some of you guys could feel a little disconnected from your own intuition during Venus retrograde. Some of you are more focused on the material world, so you're kind of just putting certain things on the back burner, trying not to worry about them or trying not to stress about them. I want to even argue that this quantum entanglement could be about you just being a little bit frugal and strategic and maybe careful with your energy. There's only so much that you can give into. So you may be neglecting some relationships because you don't have the capacity to give to those relationships. Tidal force is a huge pull on your emotions though. Tidal force is the theme of feeling compelled to do something. And with your values, this could be an issue. This could feel like something isn't right right? We got that humanitarian streak. We're seeing a situation that is unfair, that is unjust, and how dare they do that? And now we need to talk about it. We feel very strongly about it. Emotions seem to be high. We did have a full moon in Aquarius just pass. I wonder how that affected you, because I do think that this tidal force is a strong feeling, a strong sort of pull on your emotions and your emotional well-being. Yeah. You guys may also feel strongly attracted to somebody during this time, like you're spending a lot of time with one person in your life specifically. And that could be where we're neglecting other people because we just want to be around that person. You know what I mean? Like we don't want to kind of invest in other things. Or we may feel like our time is very scarcely involved in only one person, one thing. What else are we looking at here? A sidereal year also. Yeah. So with this sidereal space, I keep saying sidereal, I'm terrible. With this sidereal space card, the first thing that I felt was that this is something that is all around us, and some people can't really explain it. Other people like to have explanations or theories, I guess. Let's say theories. It's the infinite. It's the endless abundance that space offers. Sidereal is the idea that things can sort of change and there's anomalies and there's a lot of things that we can't really explain, but we like to quantify. So I wonder if a huge theme is feeling like there's a lot of things that you just are happening around you that you just can't get on top of. And I want to clarify that because that's a kind of a scary theme to throw out there. It feels overwhelming. It feels a little bit like it feels a little bit like it's consuming. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let's get some clarity now. Now that I've done my little research as well, let's have a look. We're going to use this tarot deck. I actually want to start with sidereal because that's the one that I feel less confident in being able to intuit. So let's get some tarot to clarify what's going on with this sidereal space for my group threes. What's going on with this sidereal space for my group threes? What is that about? We have the Five of Swords. Reverse, we have the Lover's card. What is this sidereal space about for my group threes, please, Spirit? We have the Two of Swords. I might have to move this tripod down a little bit, just so you can see all of the cards. There we go. And we're going to put the bottom deck energy over here. That's the Death card. I'm just going to close that door while the little legs is outside. Good boy. Because, ay, Dios mío, I just stood on a bone. That dog, I love him, but he's very loud. He's just a puppy. Okay. All right. What are we looking at here, group three? Honestly, sweet soul, I do think that this sidereal space card is about getting that higher perspective, right? Venus retrograde is here to make some changes. That's why retrogrades ultimately happen. And these changes could feel like things having to come to an end in order for new beginnings to start. With this transformation card, there is an ending here. Sidereal space is referencing an ending, and this is ultimately going to lead to a transformation, but in order to create this ending, we have to lose someone. This could feel like somebody who was more important at the time, but in hindsight, it was trivial. With the Five of Swords reversed, it was a situation that was tough on everybody, and the best thing that we could do was to walk away and give ourselves space. Sidereal space is the idea of giving yourself that freedom to think without that interference, without that challenge, and without that person's opinions and weight having to weigh heavily on you. You can now think independently, and you can now give yourself the opportunity to see what the possibilities are of what could lie ahead for you. You're giving yourself the freedom to walk forward. Some of you have already walked away from this person. That has happened, right? And others of you are going to make that very clear during Venus retrograde. But I think you do need to make it clear, because I can see someone trying to come back. because things may not have been severed cleanly. It could get very messy before it gets better. So make sure that it is clean and tidy, and the intention of moving forward without them is set in stone. With the Lovers card here, you're choosing self. You're choosing to be able to, first of all, reclaim your sense of self, but also I'm hearing dignity. For some of you, this was a messy situation that involved more than one person, and it's about high time that you start putting yourself first, thinking of yourself and not sort of getting stuck in the crossfire with other people and this person throwing things at you in terms of words that maybe could have been very hurtful. I do think that this sidereal space card is about you being able to make decisions about your future, about how you want to move forward. And this also means accountability, because now you don't have this person interfering or as part of the background noise. You have to start being more accountable and present and informed with your choices. You have to make sure that this is coming from a place of, I want this and it was what's best for me. So you might take some time in gaining clarity over what that is and exploring your options first, asking questions, getting curious. This Lovers card is about making decisions for yourself and coming from a space of self-love. With that being said, we have the Two of Swords next. So I do think that this sidereal space card is going to ultimately put you in a position where you don't want to move forward until you know exactly what it is that you want to do. You're going to feel empowered by the fact that you have choice, but you're also going to want to make sure that whatever action you do take is coming from an assured place, from a strong place, and from a place where you feel confident in who you are and in what you want. My group threes, this Two of Swords is making me think that some of you are going to feel like you're missing some sort of information. Sidereal space can sometimes feel like the opportunities are so infinite and abundant and the space is so void that you don't really know what you should do. With Justice reversed, some of you guys will wander in that void and feel like this is some sort of punishment, some sort of karmic justice. I do think you need to be careful before you make any big decisions in Venus retrograde. Before you make any big decisions, really get all the information. Check the fine print. Don't just leave it up to fate. Really look into it, because you could leave that situation, or you could sign up for something that you end up feeling is a real disservice and injustice to you. And it's going to be hard not to take that personally. The Justice card reverse could also be talking about that breakdown in that relationship becoming very final by the end of Venus retrograde. By the end of Venus retrograde, it's very obvious what you need to do. And if you have delayed action and if you have put it off and you told yourself, I'm just going to wait till it becomes more obvious, it will be very obvious. A separation is necessary, and a clear-cut line of separation is necessary. Outside of that, I do think that an ending is necessary in order to expose you to your infinite opportunities in Venus retrograde. And an ending in a relationship is necessary. And with the Five of Swords reversed, this is a relationship that impacts other areas of your life. It could be a co-worker, maybe overstepping boundaries, and you're having to be like, no, I don't want to take work home. Like, I just want to have a work relationship. I don't want you to be my best friend or anything, like setting that kind of boundary. And then that impacts your workplace, because then other people are like, why aren't you and so talking? Like, you guys need to be communicating to get the job done. Could be a family member, and you know, you two are trying to sort your stuff out while other people are pressuring you to come to the function still. Whatever it is, it seems to put you in a position where you need to make it very clear that you're working on yourself right now. I can't take on that other person as responsibility, but you need to make that clear. Otherwise, it's going to be made clear for you. And it does feel like an injustice at the end of it. So let's move forward. We're going to have a look at tidal force now. Spirit, what is this tidal force card about for my group threes during Venus retrograde? Temperance, the King of Swords reversed. We also have the High Priestess and the Fool card reversed with the Hierophant at the back of the deck. Okay, so this is hitting different. Let's zoom in a little bit, shall we? I'll move you over here. Oops. Is that okay? That's okay, right? Yeah. Okay, let me just have a quick drink of water. Yeah, I've been talking for 20 minutes. That's usually when I get thirsty. All right. Group 3. So this tidal force, this is your compulsion, right? This desire to be around someone that makes you feel good, feeling pulled. Honestly, this is something that will take up a lot of your energy, but it feels like it defies logic. It feels like people on the outside are looking at it and going, "Why are you doing this? You're spending so much time doing this." So what are the key themes that we're seeing here? This tidal force energy feels like you restructuring and reprioritizing your time. This is going to change the way that you commit yourself, and this is going to change the way that you see your life, because you're going to start to go, you know what, I want to deconstruct that and I want to rebuild it like this. I've made up my mind. And it could feel like you're being very stubborn about this, or it could feel like this decision is something that negatively impacts other people. Other people might be like, Group 3, why would you do this? Like, this isn't going to be helpful. It could also feel like you have to do this in response to somebody else putting you in a tough position. It could feel like this is just what I have to do. Like, I have to stand by what I said I was going to do. It's almost like this is the collateral of something else that was already decided. And in Venus retrograde, you just have to follow through with the collateral. With Temperance upright, you're doing your best to keep yourself in control. You're doing your best to kind of balance out your emotions, to try to make sure that what you're doing is right, and that you can kind of keep your energy balanced enough to not get too angry, to not get too lazy is what I'm feeling. You want to stay motivated. You want to stay sort of open to the best possible outcome. But with the other cards that I'm seeing, and there's a lot of major arcana here. These are big themes of denial or suppression, or ultimately just winging it and feeling like you're not getting very far. It could feel like with the High Priestess reversed and the Fool card reversed, you've made a lot of mistakes and they haven't really led you to your solution yet. It could also feel like you're just missing the key. Like, you could be like, I know I'm missing something, but what am I missing? The High Priestess reverse can be us ignoring our intuition and our gut instinct and kind of just having to do something that feels counterintuitive, or do something that feels like it doesn't really make sense, but logically we can rationalize it. This is probably something that you have over intellectualized or over rationalized, but it's not something that really sits well at your core. And then with the Fool card reverse, this feels like a mistake. This feels like us essentially either trying to play it safe so that we don't make any more mistakes, or it could feel like us being foolish and doing something that is not rational. It's not actually logical. So tidal force is a strong compulsion here, and you guys might be trying to kind of balance yourself out and not do anything too silly. You might also be trying to just make sure that you're not getting carried away, but in doing so, you're restricting a lot and you're cutting yourself off from a lot of opportunity, and you're also denying yourself the freedom of development. It's like you're very tunnel visioned and you're just sort of moderating yourself in the early stages of inspiration and creation. So this is a concerning energy because it feels like an energy that is coming from a space of lack. Like, it feels like an energy that is very restricted, and there's not a lot of accountability here. If anything, there is a feeling of surrender, and there is a feeling of, well, I'm just dealing with the hands that were dealt with me. It's like you're still passing the buck as though this was somebody else's fault, not yours. Spirit, what is the advice for my group 3s with this tidal force energy? What is the advice for my group 3s with this tidal force energy? We have Justice. I'm hearing get it in writing. We have Two of Wands, and we have the Three of Pentacles. So the first thing that comes out with Justice is make sure that you have an agreement. Make sure that you have some way to negotiate a favorable, balanced, fair outcome with whoever else you're in this situation with. If you're dealing with another person, another party, another group of people, make sure that you have it in writing and that you agree on some sort of outcome so that eventually, like, this leads to resolution. The other reason why we have Justice here is your advice is to make sure that you are being objective with your actions during Venus retrograde. You can't just be in crisis mode or in solution mode or in just waiting it out mode. You have to be outcome focused. So what is your desired outcome, and how are you going to get there? Justice is about being focused on the objective and being focused on getting to some sort of balanced outcome. The thing about that card is you have to consider what is fair for everybody. You can't put your needs above others, and you can't expect others to put their needs above yours. What is the best possible outcome for everybody involved, and how can we move forward with that resolution? This is about being a bit diplomatic, maybe even getting a mediator or some sort of professional in for advice or for support. And that card can also look like us being more focused on kind of putting our feelings in another outlet, and in this situation, just sort of getting to where we need to go. You could be feeling very strongly hard done by during Venus retrograde, but you have to accept accountability and you have to consider what is fair for everybody involved. With the Two of Wands reversed, you have to stop chasing dreams that don't lead to desired outcomes. Stop investing energy into quick starters. You need to start feeding your energy into what is going to offer solutions and what is going to offer resolutions and outcomes. I see the Two of Wands reversed as us sometimes putting energy into a project that fizzles out. It's a passion project. It's something that maybe had a lot of inspiration behind it, but without the right amount of energy and resources invested, it turns into a dead end real quick. You guys need to start thinking a little bit more long term, and you need to invest energy into something that is purposeful. You need to make sure that this Two of Wands isn't just a passion project. For some of you, this is about managing your resources as well, and making sure that with this tidal force, you don't get too carried away with a hobby to the point where you neglect your priorities. And I do think that for some of you, this is an energy of procrastination, feeling really compelled to sort of lose yourself in something instead of prioritizing the obvious truth. Because from the outside looking in, it's like you're denying yourself the logical outcome. Like, people are like, why are you doing this? Why are your actions feeding into something that isn't going to logically help your problems or solve your problems? I do think, though, with the Three of Pentacles at the back of the deck, don't be afraid to ask for help. You don't have to do this alone. Consider your most resourceful contacts and ask them for your help, for their help. The Three of Pentacles is about collaboration, working with others to get to your next checkpoint, to complete that task, to get that job done, to solve that problem. The Three of Pentacles is also about admirers and working with people that you look up to, and working with people that look up to you, surrounding yourself with the right people and with the right environment. This could be about feeding into that accountability, right? If it's hard for you to stay motivated or focused, then surround yourself with people that inspire you to do so. And if that isn't people physically, then make that a digital thing. Make the media that you consume inspirational and motivational. I do see this Three of Pentacles as don't be too proud to ask for help, though, for sure, with this tidal force. If you want to get something done, collaboration is key, and getting to that favorable outcome is going to be very helpful with other people's help as well. Let's clarify that quantum entanglement now as well, my group threes. What is this quantum entanglement about for group three, please, Spirit? What is this quantum entanglement about for group three during Venus retrograde specifically? We have the Eight of Swords. What is this quantum entanglement about? We have the Chariot reversed. We have the Five of Swords. Let me get one more card at least. Ooh. We have the Nine of Cups, and at the back of the deck is the Knight of Cups as well. Let me reset my... Okay, we'll slide that Knight into place. That kind of fits. It fits a little bit. All right, let me get my crystals too because I need to intuit this. So, group 3, quantum entanglement. This is like feeling connected but separated. And in your case, it felt like blowing up little things. So for some of you, your next steps aren't feeling obvious to you. During Venus retrograde, there is a feeling of getting lost in other people's plans and not feeling like you're making much progress in your own plans, in your own goals, and in your own growth. With the Eight of Swords here, a key theme is feeling like you don't know what your next step is and you don't feel like you can do much. You feel like your hands are tied. You guys may even be feeling like the victims in a situation, and you may feel like there's not a lot at your disposal in terms of resources and options. This is an illusion though. This is a mentality, this is a mindset, it is not reality. With the Chariot card reversed, there's a lot of fears over what you should do next, because maybe what you should do isn't what you want to do. Maybe you told this person, well, I'm going to go and do this and I want to do it, and you want to prove them right or you want to prove them wrong. You want to throw it in their face and go, see, look at where I'm at now. The thing is, with the Chariot reversed, you guys are addressing this with the wrong sort of energy. And so therefore you're attracting with that energy the wrong sort of outcome, if that makes sense. If we look at what energy is, you're attracting exactly what you're putting out, which is a lot of fear, which is a lot of, I can't do much anyway, my hands are tied. And so you're getting a lot of restrictive results and outcomes and opportunities. The Five of Swords is saying there has to be a change in action in order for a change in opportunity. And the change in action has to involve what you're willing to do to get ahead. What you're willing to do may be at the expense of somebody else. This Five of Swords is usually a win or lose outcome. Nobody wins in this situation. In order for us to get ahead, we may have to steal somebody else's opportunity, or we may have to take from somebody else, or we may have to make it very clear that we're putting ourselves first at the expense of that friendship, that relationship, that whatever it is. But we have to do that, or we're putting ourselves up to fail. With quantum entanglement here, it could feel like you're making a situation a lot bigger than what it is. And it's not to say that it's not complicated. It definitely is complicated. But with the Nine of Cups reversed, it feels like a lot of sacrifices going into this instead of accountability. Instead of saying, actually, this is what I need to do, and approaching it in a very sort of compassionate way, you may have started feeling like, I don't know what to say. So eventually you're going to have to consider your own well-being, and you're going to have to consider how other people, or you may be in a situation that is unfair emotionally. It's at the expense of your well-being or their well-being. With the Knight of Cups here, you have to consider what is best for you, and you have to take action towards that from the right space, doing what feels right in your heart for yourself. And this doesn't have to be a petty situation. It doesn't have to be a cruel situation. It can be a situation that is handled with compassion, with kindness, and ultimately with the intention of, I need to do what is best for me, and I know that, this is what it is. And I hope that the universe has your back and sorts you out as well. I do think quantum entanglement is about ultimately trusting a process that feels very hard to do, because you want to be a good person, but you can't afford to self-sacrifice. So that's what that feels like, sweet soul. Let's keep moving forward. We're going to have a look at this 7 energy now. What is this 7 energy about for my group 3s during Venus retrograde? What is this 7 energy about for my group 3s during Venus retrograde? Okay, we have the Lovers card reversed. We also have the Knight of Wands upright. We have the Five of Pentacles. And we have the King of Wands reversed. At the back of the deck is the Eight of Pentacles. I'm just going to have some more water. Okay, let me just wipe my nose really quickly too. Okay, so how are we feeling about this? It looks like you're really looking for answers in Venus retrograde. You're asking a lot of questions. Why? Why this? Why that? What am I supposed to do? How do I get through this? Some of you guys are seeking advice in all the wrong places. Some of you are very, very philosophical, or you're looking for answers through your religion or your spiritual practices. But I do think that when we talk about getting answers from the wrong places, you guys may be asking people who can't give you what you know within self. You ultimately need to find those questions for self. And the thing is, like, you're not doing anything wrong. You just need to be able to recognize where your energy, your resources, your time should be invested in order to get to where you need to be. This feels like it's about your money. It feels like it's about your career, your income, your stability, making sure that you have enough money to achieve what you want to achieve, making sure that you have enough time to do what you want to do, making sure that the changes that you're making are going to pay off in the long run. I do think that you need to be a little bit careful about the choices that you're making in the coming weeks, because those choices, if they're impulsive, are going to put you into financial hardship. I need to say that very clearly. You should be very careful about traveling or investing in hobbies, pursuits, or interests that have only really cropped up in the last 3 months. If you've only recently decided that this is what you want to do, it's going to get tougher before it gets easier. And it's going to really test you money-wise. This 7 energy is about being very careful about your resources, your time, your money, everything. And I do think that you need to be careful about your plans. You guys need to be putting more effort into strategizing and planning, not just sort of going with the flow here and being impulsive. We want to see him upright and we want to see him upright, but instead we only have him, and he is full of passion, zeal. He's very eager and keen and impulsive. But this one is the one that calls the shots. Our King of Wands is the planner, the strategizer, the schemer. He's the one that really hashes out the details to make sure that whatever we're charging towards with our energy is an investment worth charging towards. And because he's reversed, I just feel like we didn't think that far ahead. We did not think that far ahead. And that's why we have all these questions now. And that's why we may need to consider changing our jobs or getting another job or restructuring our dreams, our goals, our lifestyle to make sure that it fits the means. Some of you may need to change jobs because what you wanted to do is not what you're ready to do. If you do want to be more self-sufficient, you've got to put more plans into it. And you may need to just be more careful about starting a business or doing that without having something solid to rely on. You may need to just be in the wheel a little bit longer, working that full-time job while you get this off the ground. If this isn't about money, if this is about a relationship, please be careful about pursuing somebody that you've only met in the last 3 months. If you meet this person during Venus retrograde and they leave you with more questions than answers, don't drop your priorities to chase them. It is going to leave you in hardship, and it's going to leave you with more problems than what you started with. And you're going to feel like you wasted a lot of your resources, and now you have to pick up the pieces and start from scratch. There is a lot of learning and lessons here in recognizing how things interfold and interlock in your life, and how one thing does connect to the other. How getting distracted by this is going to impact your job, which will ultimately impact your livelihood, which will ultimately impact your security, your stability. your safety. There's all of these. There's this energy of like a catalyst event. So please be careful. I'm glad we could talk about it now. Is there any advice or any other information they need to know about this? Is there any advice or any other information Group 3 needs to know about this? Justice again. The King of Swords reversed. Is there anything else? The Princess of Wands, and at the back of the deck is the Eight of Cups. Don't be too proud to walk away. If it isn't working, you need to stop, reflect, and do what is best, which is ultimately walking away. The Eight of Cups is saying, don't be too proud to walk away. The Eight of Cups is also about recognizing a cycle that has reached its completion. We don't have to say we're never going to do that, but right now we need to say, I can't continue to do that. For right now, I can't continue to do that. It's not in my best interest. I need to put what is in my best interest first, and this is not it. With the Princess of Wands, you need to be open to creative solutions. You guys also need to be open with starting something from the bottom up, not trying to jump ahead. The Princess of Wands is indicating that you are allowed to have fun, and you are allowed to get curious, and you are allowed to have these passion projects and start new things. But with the King of Swords reversed in Justice here, you have to consider how this affects other areas of your life, or how this affects those around you. Certain relationships are being impacted by these impulses or by these decisions. With the King of Swords reversed, you do need to make sure you're very careful about where you get advice from, about what professionals you seek for advice. Make sure you're seeking an impartial third party, not just a family friend or someone close to you. Make sure with the King of Swords reversed that your advice is professional. It's not just somebody who has experience who you've also known for a very long time. The King of Swords reversed as advice is also about being very careful about your decisions. Don't get stubborn. Don't get stuck and stoic in your choices to the point where you just have to see the Titanic through until the last moment of air. Like, I do think with this Justice card being here, this is about ultimately getting to that point of seeing a favorable outcome that is for the best, highest good of everybody involved. This is definitely a time of balance and harmony, and you need to be a bit more balanced with your energy throughout Venus retrograde. There's nothing wrong with following your passion with this Princess of Wands. Just make sure that you're doing it in a balanced way, in a harmonious way, in a fair way, in a way that is for the highest good of everything and everyone involved. So that's what I'm seeing with the 7 card. Let's have a look at this air energy now. What is this air energy about for my group 3s? What is this air energy about, Spirit, for my group 3s? Okay, we have the Chariot. We have the 9 of Swords. What is this air energy about? We also have the 7 of Cups, and we have the Page of Pentacles. At the back of the deck is the Ace of Pentacles as well, group 3. So in terms of this air energy and Venus retrograde, there is an opportunity here to be a bit selfless, but self-focused. This is definitely a time to be balanced and a time to delve into something that you have wanted and something that could be very successful in the future. But I do think that the best way to get there is by working towards it with others. You need to be very careful of your relationships that are helpful and making sure that you don't jeopardize or sabotage those relationships for personal gain. And I don't see you doing that intentionally. That's the thing. Just being aware of how other people can be helpful and resourceful is a big part of your Venus retrograde, how important the people around you are to you. And the thing is, like, this opportunity is an opportunity, but it feels like we can't get there without guidance or without support from others. By ourselves, we seem to be consumed by fear, by doubt, by negativity, by uncertainty. We have so many questions and there's no one to really get the answers from as to how we feel. We feel stuck in our own fear, and we also are lacking the determination to move forward by ourselves. We also know what we want, but we don't know how to claim it, how to make it. Some of you are feeling very underqualified, as though this is a situation that you've kind of just been thrown into and you're having to figure it out, while others of you are not recognizing how ready you are for this shift. It's been a long time coming. You've outgrown something and it is time to move forward, but we're just so afraid we don't know how to make that happen. Spirit, what do they need to know about this air energy? What is the advice? What is the advice with this air energy, Spirit? This deck is so chunky. What is the advice? Four of Cups reversed. Don't miss this opportunity. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Now is not a time to get complacent. Ten of Swords reversed. Ace of Cups reversed. Two of Wands reversed. Don't be afraid to claim things that are yours. But there's also a feeling of an unrequited opportunity here, or a selfish energy, a betrayal. Some of y'all need to recognize how things had happened the way that they happened in order to give you the chance to do things differently. They weren't supposed to be successful. They had to fall apart. They had to break down. They had to end in order for you to get to this point now where you can have more choices, more options, more opportunity. You're holding on to things that aren't meant to happen and that were meant to end. You need to be very careful of accidentally committing yourself to something that is going to strip you of your resources, because I do think with the Two of Wands reversed, you're facing a dead end. And this air energy is about being very careful about accidentally stumbling into a dead end and trying to convince yourself that that isn't a wall in front of you, trying to say, well, I can overcome it, I can jump over it, I can dig under it, I can go around it if I just keep running. It does feel like you need to be very aware of how things have come to a head for a reason, to ultimately steer you in a new direction that you can't afford to miss out on. You have to be able to recognize this cycle is ending in order to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I do think with the Ace of Cups reversed, this could also feel like, with this air energy, you're just distracting yourself from this truth by pouring your cup into other people's. You can't receive if you aren't able to actually give, and you can't give if you aren't able to receive. You might be trying to pour your cup into somebody else's who is overflowing, but selfishly not giving to you. Be careful about signing yourself up to help people who aren't actually wanting to return that favor, who are helping you for selfish reasons, for transactional purposes, to be able to say, well, you owe me, group 3. And be careful about expecting somebody to fill your cup whose cup is also empty. How are they supposed to give you something they never had or they never planned on giving you? It does feel like you need to be careful of this selfishness. And it feels like you need to be careful about investing energy into things that aren't actually coming from the right place, that aren't balanced, that have no intention on being harmonious, and that ultimately just need to be left to their own devices. I do think that for a lot of you, you should be focusing more on the people who deserve that kind of effort and work and who are going to help you in the long run. The people who can be a part of the solution and who you are willing to step up for as well. It feels like it has to be very balanced, or the imbalanced imperfections are going to be thrown back into your face during Venus retrograde. There could be some little arguments with some big people in your life who you're really struggling to kind of overcome. You could be taking that very personally, and you could easily just get lost in what they're going through instead of feeding that energy into your own opportunities as well. So the advice is to make sure that you're not investing energy into a dead end. Make sure that you are taking advantage of your opportunities and that you're not repeating cycles where you felt betrayed or let down because somebody did not help you in the way that you helped them. So that's what I'm seeing with the air energy. Libra could be very significant for this group as well. Just for some of you, not all of you. Let's have a look at that King energy now. What is that King energy about for my group 3s, Spirit? What is that King energy about for my group 3s? Okay, we have the 7 of Pentacles. What is that King energy about for my group 3s? We also have the 10 of Cups reversed. We have the 9 of Pentacles reversed. And we have the 3 of Cups with the 3 of Wands reversed. So what this is saying is that good things take time. In this case, you can't have your cake and eat it. If you want long-term success, it's going to take time. Trying to take a shortcut will not make you happy. Trying to please other people right now or do things just because they're doing things like that is not going to make you happy. Avoid making huge purchases just to kind of appease that momentary feeling, right? Just because somebody around you said you should do this. It's like you're being coerced by family to do this. You guys could have the expectations to kind of make things appear more glittery than they are. And it's kind of giving me the energy of like, well, my family is successful. Like they wouldn't let me drive a Toyota. Like they would only let me drive a European. So I have to buy a Mercedes, but I can't afford it. Like that's what this could feel like. Good things take time. This King energy is about measuring our expectations and ensuring that we're not forcing things to happen before they are meant to. This is also about deliberating on how we should be investing our resources moving forward. It's a fork in the road where we can either continue to do what we've been doing or we can plan to do things differently. It's definitely a passive energy of just waiting for things to kind of work out to be in our favor resource-wise. With the 10 of Cups reversed, it feels like you guys are trying to allocate resources to a temporary moment, a temporary celebration. It kind of reminds me of like a birthday party that costs 10 grand for 7 people, you know, and that's fine if that's what you can afford, but I don't think you can, and I think you're going to regret it. With the 10 of Cups reversed, be very careful about using money to fill an emotional void or using money to repair a relationship. Be very careful about that. And be very careful about compromising your worth or your budget, your resources, just to appeal to a loved one. I do think with the 9 of Pentacles reversed, you should not be making big extravagant purchases during Venus retrograde. You should be finding other ways to supplement and to feel better about yourself, working on your health, working on your mindset, working on your self-care routine, working on your career, your income, so that you can actually afford to do all of these things that you plan on doing. It's going to take some time, but it is going to save you a lot of stress, because this 3 of Cups is saying that ultimately we can still have a lot of fun during Venus retrograde. We can do that without overspending. If we plan this well, then we can still have our fun moments and we can still interact and engage with people that we want to see. We don't have to sacrifice too much, but we definitely have to plan ahead and we have to be a little bit more cautious about what we are spending. With the 3 of Wands reversed, a lot of you also need to consider how all of this is going to impact in the near future. I'm not even talking about 12 months from now, I'm talking about 3 months from now. I do think that this King energy is about thinking more long term, confronting the obvious truths, and maybe redirecting your energy into investments that are going to pay off in the long run. How are you investing your time? How are you investing your resources? And how are you giving yourself a sustainable income to be able to afford the things that you desire in life. And if you have to cancel a plan or cancel a trip and postpone it to this, do that. Don't be too proud, because you will have the chance to have fun still, and you will also have more peace of mind if you do that. You're not going to accidentally put yourself into debt. So that's what I'm seeing, my group threes. I hope that was helpful. It's a very specific message overall. I feel very specific messages. If it didn't resonate 100%, do try one of the other groups. A lot of the groups were focused on very different things. Now that I realize I've done them, now that I've filmed them all. So it is definitely going to reflect differently depending on what you chose. We need to have a look at what we're covering in your extended reading now. For the other groups, it was a little bit more obvious, but for you, this feels a little more questionable. So for my group threes, what should I be covering in their extended reading, Spirit? We have the Magician. We have the Ace of Pentacles. You are my entrepreneurs. You are my creators. You're my ambitious people. We have the Judgment card and we have Temperance at the back of the deck. Okay, so let me get my voice recorder up. I'm going to record this and then play it back in your extended reading so that we don't miss anything. So group three, with this Magician energy, we need to have a look at your manifestations. We need to have a look at what you should be manifesting and how you should be investing energy towards your desired outcomes. This is also about looking at what you're capable of achieving. So we're going to have a look at what you should be setting your ambitions on. Where should you be directing your attention right now? And how can you be most successful in doing that? You guys are meant to be successful people. You are my entrepreneurs. You are my people who can technically turn water into wine, not to be blasphemous. You're very capable of manifesting, but we've gotten a little bit lost, so we need that clarity with that card. With the Ace of Pentacles, we want to have a look at what opportunities you should be feeding your time and resources into. What do you need to know about these opportunities? How are they presenting themselves to you? And how can you get the most out of them? These opportunities can lead to long-term success, so we'll get as much information as we can. When it comes to this Judgment card reverse, we need to have a look at what truth you are ignoring. This is some sort of glaring, obvious truth that you need to take action about. This is something that is impinging on your ability to move forward because it's a transformation that hasn't completed. It's a cycle that has ended, but it has not fully ended to allow us a new beginning. So what glaring, obvious truth are we ignoring? What do we need to realize in order to be able to move forward? With Temperance at the back of the deck, we also need to ask, how can you best move forward for self? Who should you be distancing yourself from? Who should you be separating yourself from? And how can you focus more on your success and on your peace? So my group threes, if that sounds helpful, and especially if the first part of your reading did resonate, the link to your extended reading is in the description box. That link will take you to my website, group three, so please make sure you click on the right group. You are group 3 of the Venus retrograde reading. You swipe across if you're on a mobile device to click on the right group. If you're on a desktop, you can use the search function, or you can scroll down to click on the right group, your group 3 of the Venus retrograde reading. Before you go wherever you're going, thank you so much for all of your support, your time, your attention, and your energy right here on YouTube. I appreciate you for being here. You were a long reading, so I appreciate you so much. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to connect with you in another video. Bye!